What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catapaglia sitting on the couch making some money investing in fractional real estate online as usual. It's actually late Thursday night when I'm recording this, but I'm going to do this week's episode of the 52-week challenge. I don't know if episode is the right word for a YouTube channel, but this week's 52-week challenge video where I talk about everything I bought this week. Tomorrow morning we're doing Fractional Friday with Mark the Financial Firefighter on his channel. So if you have a chance to tune into that, that would be awesome. It's going to be at 10 o'clock Central Time, 11 Eastern, 10 Central. Um, it will be on my channel. You can we're going to stream it on X, but you can also just see it on Mark's channel. So any of those places would be great. We're gonna have Matt from Saul's Lot on there. So if you have questions between now and then, feel free to submit them, or if you're on the live, just ask him directly, and Mark will probably read them to him. Okay, what did I buy this week? Okay, 52-week challenge. There is a playlist on this channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, what we're doing here, the first video in that playlist describes what I'm trying to do. If you also just jump into the Discord, um, into the 52-week challenge thread, you can see it there as well. So, first thing, a couple of things. I think I bought, what did I buy in here? Oh, where did my little wallet disappear to? There we go. Okay. Um, so this is the wallet that I created to interface with Saul's Lot. You don't have to have a Gobi wallet anymore. When I first started, I think this was the only way to do it. So I picked up 4 of these NFTs. They are NFTs. That's where they show up. But it's pieces. These represent my ownership in the DAC. And so yeah, these were. I just used the cash that I already had in there from my other redemption. So not a whole bunch of money, but each one of these are just $105. I bought 4 of them. Um, at the moment, I am still probably gonna just buy one of every single one that they put out, or some amount of every single one that they put out. Uh, unless there's just some glaring issue with it, because all the ones I've had so far have turned over perfectly fine. It is obviously a work in progress when you're using the site. There's things that are my dashboard still gets hung up when I'm trying to use it. They're working the kinks out. They're very new. Um, and I think because I like the business model so much, and I think Matt is doing a good job, I'm really like I'm okay with understanding that there's going to be some issues this early in the process, right? As far as like how things actually go. So far, he's been really responsive when I've contacted him through his Discord, through Twitter, lots of different places. He's pretty quick to respond. I ping him in our Discord. He doesn't always seem to see that, but other than that, places where you do find him, he's good about it. This is his baby, it seems, and he's doing a lot to make sure it's moving in the right direction. Anyway, before I go on to the next things, I want to point out, well, my next one is a mogul deal that I purchased. In the description to this video, I have links to all the places where I'm currently investing in fractional real estate online. Do your own due diligence on all of those platforms. Don't just buy any of these things just because I'm doing it. My risk tolerance is different than a lot of you. The, you know, the, our outlooks of the future, the timing that we have, the amount of capital that we have to put into specific deals, right? Like all that stuff's different. So you want to just make sure you're doing your own due diligence and you're making decisions that make sense for your situation, right? Not necessarily just doing whatever I'm doing. Whenever I get DMs and people are like, hey, just tell me what to buy, it terrifies me, right? I really like the whole goal of this channel is to get people to be doing their own due diligence, sharing some of the thoughts about what I think about when I'm making an investment, but certainly not trying to tell you what you should be doing. Yeah, so I bought a piece of this, the Gilmore. I've been talking about this for a few weeks. I just bought a small piece, and I'll probably buy a little more before it sells out. I am just trying to really time that, right? Like I don't want to miss it, but again, if you miss it, it's not the end of the world. But I don't want to just put my capital in there and just let it sit there when it does, it's not being used yet. So why not just put it in a little bit later? I know if everybody thought that way, it would be terrible for the platform, but luckily not everybody does. I mean, some of these, well, you can see. So I did buy a piece of this one. And let me tell you what it is. It is a 8-bedroom, 4-bathroom. Um, Pad split in Tempe, Arizona. This is, it's what I really think of just like the stereotypical pad split, right? It's just very, it's somewhat sparse decor. It's just like, okay, you've got bedrooms and bathrooms. I do like that there's a lot of bathrooms for the number of bedrooms. But yeah, I did a full video about it if you want to see a little bit more. But speaking of like people that are just, jumping in early, the Swift has only been live on their platform for a day now, but they had the pre-launch since the webinar. Already a lot of people jumping in. I think that taking a little bit more time, digging into it, understanding, and then also just realizing that you don't make more money by investing sooner, you make more money by investing later, right? And so, um, I haven't bought into this one yet. I do plan to, but yeah, I've been doing this with the mogul ones because I identify the ones that I'm going to buy, and then I know I'm going to buy some. I just have to make sure I time it before it doesn't check out. Okay, how am I doing getting off of Lofty? Well, not well, right? I haven't really. I'm not. I'm going in the opposite direction a little bit. I haven't put any new cash on the platform. Um, I had bought a whole bunch of Odom before I made the video saying, "Oh, I'm gonna liquidate." They have now halted trading on it until we see what happens with the sale. This is a new policy that they just sort of enacted without any warning. I don't hate it. I think that okay, if we have a property that's set to sell in real life, and what they're trying to do is protect the people that have USDC in the liquidity pool, I believe. Although it doesn't really make sense because they also stopped the limit trading. Um, yeah, I don't hate the decision. I hate that it didn't get, somebody had to ask, "Hey, what's wrong here?" for them to tell us, "Oh, this is something that we're doing now," right? I mean, I think 90% of the problems that I have with them, it's not 90, but a good portion of it is in the way they deliver information or just really don't deliver it. If you were in the Discord today, you see a whole bunch of, Jerry's in there talking, and I mentioned in my video yesterday, he said a couple of things that I thought were exactly right and that I agree with. He had one more today, and I don't remember what it was, but there was one more thing. Um, there was some stuff that came up that was shocking, like that there is an extension contract to the Leclerc deal that, which was one of the things that I was trying to avoid Odom buying into. If you remember, that was one of the things I was trying to avoid. Um, it turns out there's like an extension contract, or maybe some people are saying it's really a new contract. I didn't look at it yet, but that's been signed for almost a year that was never put anywhere that us investors on the platform could see it. So that kind of stuff, uh, that's just not a great look. But it is. He has been getting in there more often, and it does seem like there's a little bit of a different like tone, like he's actually trying to make a difference about some stuff in a way that like is a little bit less just explaining why they did what they did and a little bit more maybe trying to help some stuff. So I'm really curious if there's a lot of liquidity leaving the platform. Today was a huge selling day if you looked across the platform. And so I wonder if that's starting to make him think, okay, we have to address things a little bit differently. Maybe not. Maybe that's just me seeing it a little bit weird once I decided that I was going to leave. But yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Anyway, picked up quite a bit of Odom since last week, and we do have an offer that we have accepted. There's a long way between now and it selling, but if it does sell, we should get about $34-$35 per token is what it looks like, and I'm all in fees and everything at 29. So not a huge win, but it'll be pretty decent chunk of change. Really just getting, excuse me, getting this capital back to reinvest elsewhere. I'll be pretty happy with, and it doesn't seem like there's any scenario where it should be a loss. I mean, we'd have to accept something really weird for me to lose money on this one. So that's exciting. Okay. I did buy a little bit more of Raymond. Um, there's a couple reasons for it. One is it just the price dipped again, and so it is one that I've been. This is really only not all the tokens that I have because I have some in the liquidity pools, so it doesn't show up here. But so I think I passed 11% ownership in this one today. It was one I was shooting to get to 15 before I decided I'm going to get off. So I'm going to give you a little secret what I might be doing with this one. I don't think it's going to affect anything because nobody seems to be buying this one. I have, a couple different plans, which I've talked about. I did a video on this as far as like, well, maybe we could convert it to a short-term rental. Maybe we could just list it for sale the next time it's vacant because we're going through an eviction right now. I think that's the most likely path forward. And if we do, I'd expect to get a real nice profit from where my average basis is. But I'm also very much considering just making an offer to buy it from the Dow, asking them to let me burn my tokens as a portion of my down payment. We'll see if we do if I do that, but it's one of the reasons why I thought maybe I will still pick up tokens because, like I mentioned in a couple other videos, I think that one opportunity that exists specifically on Lofty, but some of the other fractional platforms as well, is to be a counterparty, right? Like to buy properties that are struggling on there. I think there's a whole bunch of DAOs that would be I mean, this no, this one hasn't made any money in a long time. I think there's a whole bunch of people in that own this that would be like, could I, sell this maybe at not the best price or maybe with some owner financing terms. I mean, who knows what that would look like to start getting some cash versus no cash. In general, in real estate, you're always looking for motivated or distressed sellers. And if you look across the Lofty platform, most of the DAOs probably qualify for that, right? So, like, trying to identify a couple that might be good to buy yourself, I don't know. I think it could be an interesting plan. It's one of the reasons why this one in particular, I had thought about that on Odom too. For a number of reasons, I decided against it, and then I was still kind of on the fence about it when we got that offer. So I think that kind of made the decision for me, right? Didn't I wasn't going to be like, no, 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 take this, let me put something together. So yeah, anyway, that's a thought I've got on this. Obviously, who knows if that's what I'll actually do. If the price popped to 23, I'd probably sell out, right? Because that'd be a decent profit for me. Because my average basis on this, uh, well, no, that's not true. Because with fee, my average basis on this with fees is like right around $20. So I'd have to be a little bit higher than that. But at 25, I'm definitely making money. Um, and then this is the one I'm really embarrassed about, right? Because this has nothing to do with me getting off the platform. I bought five of these today just because they were in $8.78. There was, if you look across a whole bunch of pools, there was a whale selling all over the place. Tons of different properties tanked. This was the absolute cheapest one that I saw. There were a couple others. This is what got me really paying attention. But there were a couple others that tanked quite a bit, but that I missed because, there's a bunch of people that are going and picking up stuff cheaply. This is one that I had done due diligence on and bought before in the teens. There are some new potential repair issues that have come up, but nothing that I think, justify. I mean, I'm always just talking about with a risk-adjusted return, right? Well, if I'm buying these for $8.78, we've got a huge margin of safety there, which I think is, part of what reduces risk, and then also the potential to 2 or 3x that investment. So, higher potential for returns, larger margin of safety, so lower risk. Um, it's hard to argue with $8 tokens, right? $8 or $9 tokens, um, even with all the other problems that I have, right? And it seems I'm not off the platform yet. Anyway, I had sold some tokens. I had some cash in the account. I just bought a few of these, and that's how, the stuff that I bought with Raymond later in the for or the I bought Raymond with money from liquidating other tokens too. So again, I'm still not putting any new money on here. Um, but I'm already waffling on like, am I just really going to get off completely? I do think, when Odom sells, most of that money is going to come off the platform, right? Like when I get big sales, I'm definitely at least taking my profit off, but I still plan to liquidate. Um, because yeah, I mean, there have been some steps in the right direction, but the Leclerc thing really threw me, right? Like the fact that they had this contract that has just never been disclosed, like is I mean, people have been, it was signed in like December of last year. People have been buying tokens for almost a full year without knowledge of this contract that should have been in there. Um, that kind of stuff is just what really gets me, right? So anyway, uh, But yeah, bought this week, right? So still picking some up, but being just extremely careful. And also too, the other thing that the biggest change that, or I don't know that it's really a change, but the thing that Jerry said that like made me the most comfortable is that okay, if your DAO sells your property, we're just going to redeem you. You're going to get your cash back, right? That was the thing that was really freaking me out about Odom. It just seems like such a odd situation where you could say, okay, we have this entity, it's a DAO, you're investing in this property, you can sell that property and not get your money back. Like that's the one that really just got me like, oh, I can't, how can I invest in a platform if I can't even be sure I'm going to get my money back when we liquidate? So him saying that that's not the case, that where he's going to just okay, if people sell the property, you're gonna get to redeem in cash. Um, Makes me feel a lot better about the strategy of buying tokens like this one, and hopefully this property gets sold. Obviously, I'm going to be even more careful than I was before about finding other co-owners in the DAOs that have that same vision. But now at least the risk of, okay, we all agreed we're selling it, and then 60% of the people think we should just take our money and put it somewhere else. Not having to live with that anymore, I think just makes uh, it takes a lot of the risk off the table in my mind, right? Because it's not just gonna get rolled into who knows what. Anyway, I think I said that like four different ways. It is the biggest thing that's got me waffling on coming back or not, not liquidating. And no matter what, it's going to take me a while to get off the platform, right? And so, to a certain extent, sometimes I think I'll have to buy more tokens in something in order to help us get it sold, right? Like maybe if there's some that are stuck where we don't really have the support to sell, but I could buy a larger chunk of it. I don't know. Anyway, you can tell it's something I'm just going to go back and forth about because it's just a real tough decision for me, right? Like I really want Lofty to work. I want it to work in a way where you're actually, where it mimics buying real estate. And, that one piece was a huge step in the right direction for that. I actually even liked some of the stuff he was saying about Garden Gate today, where he's like, okay, no, you can't just keep changing it, right? Like you guys had this vote, you got to just stick with that. You can't just keep manipulating it, like keep trying to change it. And we've always had this 90-day vote thing, but I feel like it just hasn't been enforced very strongly. And so it's good to see like that's why I've been asking for guardrails, right? Like I've been asking for them to have a little bit more control, so it's not just a constant circus. And so yeah, I mean I think that's a big step in the right direction. Obviously defining it and like really like putting it out there so everyone understands what the rules are would be helpful. Um, and like maybe putting it on their page somewhere where like I could click on rules of the platform, permissible activities and non-permissible, that sort of thing would be fantastic. Anyway, so that's okay. Bought some of these. Long discussion to tell you I bought 5 tokens on that. And then I picked up a little bit more on ground floor. This is all just from notes that got paid off and reinvested. And so just 4 more. And really one of them is just like the leftovers, right? Because all these I've been trying to buy with 50 or just whatever's in there. I'm up to 98 loans now, right? So really it's only 2 new ones. And then some of these are, well, then there was the payoff. And then one of these is an additional investment in one that was there last week. Um, Yeah, so I don't know. I think that there's some potential that I'm going to get to really build a diversified portfolio here. Again, I'm just kind of letting this one ride until we see where they go with like if they just come and pay off a bunch of these willy-nilly again, where it's not the borrower, it's just the company doing it, and I have to start over to build a position, well, yeah, I mean, I'll go back to just deciding to take some money off. But it's been a while since they did that. It hasn't happened again. I've built up. I think I got down to like 53 or 56, so I've got to build up quite a few. Um, Really, if I can get to the point where I consistently can have like in my mind, I think between 150 and 200. And then, because then over time, I'll just put more on to, grow a position in each one. Um, one of the things that I've noticed is just the way they report stuff is bad. There was a discussion about this, and a bunch of us on in the Discord. Um, which did I already say that in the description of this video? There's a link to the Discord I have set up, and we talk about all different channels. I think I might have, but maybe not. Also, tickle the like button while you're at it. Um, but yeah, there's a good discussion. Several of us had gotten paid off for the same note, and in the payoff, it mentioned that we all had it. It said the term was 4.6 months, and this was our return. And when you did the math on, how much you had invested and the actual your actual return in 4.6 months, nobody was getting the right answer. Like they said, you were getting 12.5% return on that. It didn't look like it was the case. Well, when we go back and look at our actual performance and when we bought it, okay, it first entered the platform 4.6 months prior, but all of us had bought into it at different points in time, and that's why when you actually looked at it from my purchase date, I was getting that 12.5%. Where if you looked at it just and you thought about it at 4.6 months, it ended up looking significantly worse. So I think, part of the problem, oh, what are we doing there? Get off of there. Part of the problem that we see on here is they're just reporting stuff in a way that, some of the stuff I like what it looks like, but some of it doesn't look like it's true what they're telling us, but it's just because of the way so far when I've done math and really understood where, when I've invested and when I've gotten out, it seems like it's actually correct. But the way they present it is, I think it confuses a lot of people. And so, like that email, all of us got the email that had that same term, right? It all said 4.6. And so then when you try to annualize your return based on that, it was like, oh, that doesn't seem right at all. Well, yeah, because that wasn't the number, that wasn't the actual length of time that any of us had held it, right? We'd all held it for different lengths of time. So, anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting to realize. I am still doing well on here, right? This is my expected rate, 11.4, blended across the 98 loans. Still have no defaults, which is, I think I'm really lucky because I know a lot of people talk about really high default rate. And I'm basically buying one of every one available whenever I have cash, a little bit of every. And so I don't know, I've just gotten super lucky. But if you look at ones that were paid off, these are my actual rates. When they do the math on this rate, I think what they're doing is saying, like, okay, every single note has a rate that it finished, right? So like the one today was 12.5. They're not taking all the capital you invested and like doing like a, XIRR type return. They're just taking the, that top line, okay, 12.5 and then plus. So if you have 100 different loans, whatever that number is, add them all together, divide it by 100. Seems like what they're doing. And so then it ends up giving more weight. Like, if you have ones that are outstanding for a long time and you end up getting short paid on, they'll actually hurt your returns more than it looks like when they present you with these rates. That's what I've been told by some of the other Discord users. Obviously, I don't have any defaults yet, so I can't tell you that that's 100% accurate, but it sounded right when it was described to me. So anyway, that's it. That's all I bought as far as this one goes. I don't know why. I think I'm getting extra rambly lately, and I'm sorry about that. Trying to tell you even more stuff about each one of these things. But yeah, so okay, just the DAC on Saul's lot, just the one mogul property, three lofty deals, and what did I say? Three or four of these? Four of these, right? Three new ones and one additional investment. What did you buy this week? Go ahead and jump into the Discord in the 52 weeks out challenge section. Let me know what you bought and why. Or for whatever reason, I know most of you that are doing this with me prefer to DM me. I'm still 100% open to that. Keep doing that. I do think the more we talk about this stuff together as a group, the better off we are. Um, I know a lot of times I'm tipped off to either, issues with certain properties or potential to invest. And I know, on Lofty there is that, well, I don't want to let people know about the discounted tokens until I get some. But at the same time, I would much rather have bright, thoughtful investors in the DAOs with me than just like the random people that we get sometimes. And so I think it makes a lot of sense to share strategies even on what we're doing there, even though we affect each other's price. Anyway, I think that is going to be everything for me for today. Don't forget, if you're watching this Friday morning and it's not 10 o'clock yet, Central Time, tune in to Fractional Friday, because we're going to have Matt on there from Saul's Lot. And if it's after that, thanks for watching either way. Until next time, I'm just going to keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.